Okay, I believe we're on lesson number 5. So if you take a look, we are going to be doing drums today. And this is part of your first project. So this is a big deal to make sure you get this right. So I'm on my home page with all the various songs. I'm going to look up in my folder. I've got this going on. I'm going to add the plus sign. So I'm going to start a new song. And on my new song, I have smart drums here. I'm actually going to start over here with the regular drums, just to show you what it's like. So I'm going to click on the regular drums, and up comes a drum kit, what we call a drum kit. And this makes different noises. So if you know something about drums and you feel comfortable with this, go ahead and make a recording with it. I'm going to show you some other options though. You can change the type of sound. You can do a vintage kit. You can do a live rock kit. They still look like a regular drum kit. You can also do drum machines. And this no longer looks like the actual drums, but gives you a little bit more of an electronic feel. I'm going to go back to the regular drums here. If I were to record something here, I'm going to, first of all, make sure you're at the beginning. When I hit the record button, it's going to give me the 4 clicks. 3, 4. Now I'm going to hit my drum. Whatever I want. Okay, so I've made a recording. I'm not particularly happy with that. I'll show you my other option. So I might record that and then decide whether or not I like it. I'm going to go to the timeline. Remember the timeline versus the instrument up here. I'm just going to go ahead and delete that whole thing. And again, if you're good with the drums and you want to do that, that's absolutely fine. It's hard for me to do it one-handed, so I'm going to delete this one. So you click on it, delete, goodbye. Brings me back to the instruments because I've got nothing else going on. I'm going to go over here to the smart drums now. And what I like about the smart drums is that it goes right to the beat no matter what I do. So I don't know, I noticed too that beat was kind of fast. I'm going to go over here and change my beat. I'm going to go about this speed. All right, so I'm at about 199. That's good. That's good. So I've got some options here. You can see that I can click on this. There are various items here that I can choose. But what you do here is that you're going to drag these icons to the center. Notice it says complex and loud. So the higher you put it, the louder it's going to be. So if I put this up here versus down here, there's the difference. Okay. Now I want simple to complex. So I'm going to drag this over here, all the way in the corner. That's pretty basic, very simple. Bass drum usually you want fairly basic, but I'll show you what it sounds like if we drag it over here. Now it's a little bit more complicated sound. That's not a great bass drum sound just because it sounds a little awkward, I think. So I'm going to put it back on about here. I'm going to put it kind of above the middle. Let's go right about there, maybe a little more complex. Okay, got my bass drum down. And you can change these things around. I'm going to go ahead and add my snare drum. That's kind of fun. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to add some cymbals. Sweet. I'm going to do some clapping in the background. A little bit more cymbal work. And I love complicated shaker. Sweet. Hey, you can go ahead and change anything around you want, but I kind of like this. So I'm going to go ahead and record it. I'm going to hit my record button. The sound is going to stop for 4 clicks. And then it's recording. So I'm going to let it go ahead and record for the 8 measures. That's what we're going to be using today, or for this project. Now notice the clicker, the metronome is on. You can turn that off if you want. You're going to want to eventually. When it gets to the end of 8, it goes back to the beginning and just starts playing it for me. All right, so now I've got my drum set up. Maybe you didn't like that sound though. Maybe you want to try something new. Go to your timeline. You can delete the whole thing. Or maybe you want to compare it to something else. So I'm going to compare it to something else. I'm going to add another drum set. Oh, I forgot something. I don't want this to be playing at the same time. So I'm going to go ahead and mute this. And I'm going to add a new smart drum. Again, you've got different options. If you do this, you've got more icons, more instruments to play with. But one of my favorite things is right down here on the left, the dice. When you hit this dice, it gives you a random sound. It'll choose some instruments for you. It'll throw them out there. That's okay. Let's try this one. Interesting. Ah, kind of like that. All right. So if you choose that, again, when you hit record, it gives you the 4 silent counts. I was at the beginning. And it's going to record for my 8 measures. And that is literally the lesson for this part of the project. We're going to add on to this. We're going to add on to this project here. You should end up with 8 measures of some type of sound. Now, I had already done one. I like that first one better, so I'm actually going to delete. I'm going to delete that, I said. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to stick with my first one. I like that one. So I've got the first part of my project done. I'll give you a next lesson on this in a little bit. But I'm pretty pleased with the smart drums that I have going on here. I can speed that up and slow it down, of course. So I want to get a little bit slower. Whatever you choose to do. All right, there's your drum lesson.